First prong, lead them out of mental slavery. The good news is that I actually have 3 quotes by 2 great sages that I've compiled, which perfectly communicate how to implement this strategy I'm going to describe to you. I will share those quotes with you later on when I'm ending this video. For now, my purpose is simply to share my experience as a person who has survived in an environment where a truly woke and conscious black person wishing to live with honesty and integrity amongst those who are not like him or her is likely to be more of an endangered species. Okay? Now, before I read out the quotes, because I'm going to have to read them out from a notebook, my diary here, I need to make the point that not everyone you try to influence in this manner will accept to do so. So just accept that up front. Okay, not all of them will want to listen to you. Some of them will cut you off the minute you start. Not all of them will want to learn the history or the information you supply, or that you point them to. Indeed, some of them will make illogical arguments to prove you are wrong, to justify their actions in immersing themselves in self-delusion. So you basically need to forget such people and move on. You have to accept that not everybody will be willing to change, and not everybody can be helped. Somebody used an analogy to explain why you need to adopt this attitude towards such people. He said, it's like playing chess with a pigeon. There's no point trying to do that, because whether or not you win the game, the pigeon will still go strutting around all over the board and shitting all over the place as if it won. Okay? It's best you let your actions speak for you. Regarding those areas of shortcomings you may identify, I recommend you use the strategy of subtlety with positive intent. Okay? With the quotes I'm going to share with you. For example, you can create an underground intellectual movement of sorts in your country of choice and recruit young locals you identify to be ready, quote unquote, who you will actually coach and mentor. You begin to tell them the stories, show them documentaries about the history of ancient Africa. Tell them the stuff that wakes people up, that makes them know what their roots are, that wake them up to their identity and molds them into channels of wokeness to others. If it works, they'll begin to recruit, educate, and empower others by influencing people in their own networks. The things they will post on social media, for instance, will become influenced by the history of the black race and other stuff they've learned. Be warned, however, that not all of these guys will take time. So not all of these things, will happen immediately. Sometimes you have to wait for them to come to you. And second prong, teach them to make money. The second thing you need to have in mind is that you may have to empower them economically, because one of the big problems has been that they feel that the white man brings something better to them. They feel that people from the developed world, from Europe, the supremacists, they have more money, they have better opportunities and all that. So they feel that the realities of their environment with the life they are living is too hard, and they want a better life, and they see somebody coming from there as being better off. So if you can show them how to become better financially and to have a better reality in terms of how they live, it might make it easy for them to embrace your message of self-emancipation, because they'll begin to believe it's possible. So you need to set up a system in which you begin to teach skills, both digital and offline skills, that make the young Africans become self-dependent. Many young Africans are raised by sleepwalking, deeply unwoke African adults who idolize white people and Western culture. You cannot therefore expect such children raised by such adults to be different. A goat cannot give birth to a lion. So they live in an environment that is not very empowering. Therefore, they themselves will be disempowered automatically. They won't believe that they can do anything that does not require touching people and facing people to make money, for instance. So they will not believe in the digital money-making platforms. Okay, to wake them up and keep them awake, you need to empower them economically. You need to show them how to use technology where relevant if they have the interest. And you need to empower them with vocational skills that will enable them to believe that they can stand on their own and not need people to give them. All right? So you don't do the empowerment, of course, by giving them money. It doesn't work. You don't empower people by giving them money. You teach them how to make money. The minute an African, especially a young African, realizing that money is being offered, he can actually adjust his sitting, doing something that he or she is competent at, running a business, the money becomes less attractive. The things that people are offering to him or her become less attractive. He or she begins to think independently. Whenever he or she is offered those kind of incentives to go against his or her values, she will have more courage to say no. It's as simple as that. What you want to do is to let the black person that's been exploited see that he or she is being exploited, and let him or her see also that there's a better way to get what he or she feels she's getting from that exploitative person. For instance, the issue of prostitution among black females. There's a lady called Nike Okudai here in Nigeria. Despite having only primary level education, she actually lectures at Harvard University and has been sought out by several past American presidents because she did the decorations in their home with the African designs and all that. She's into African arts. And people like Bill Clinton, George Bush, and I believe Obama have sought her expertise and had her do things for them, right? She's an expert in At.a, tie and dye, fabric weaving, and African hairstyling. Now, the Italian government at a point has engaged her, I think several times, to train young Nigerian ladies that were involved in prostitution in their country to become self-employed. And many of them today actually run their own businesses. These are people that, having previously thought of prostitution as the only way they could make it, found themselves, after training, running their own businesses and doing something more dignified. I've read testimonials by some of them in which they said they never believed that life could be so good, and they were so proud of themselves for being able to do something on their own. So sometimes people don't know they can do better because all they've ever been told is what they are being asked to do, which is not dignifying. So if you empower local Africans to make money and to be able to do things that command income, and they see themselves become self-dependent and even job creators, okay, that means when others like them see them, they will want in. The minute that happens, when they want it for themselves, the momentum begins to build up, and no one will be able to stop them. The human spirit flourishes when it feels it's been enriched and dignified. There's nothing they're going to give you that's special. You can tell them. You can do it yourself. That's the message you need to give to them. Suddenly, these people will begin to feel less vulnerable to manipulation. Okay? People will take pride in themselves the minute they begin to feel that, look, I can do this by myself. And that means they will take less disrespect from anybody as a result. So the minute they begin to come to their own and identify who they are, then they'll become empowered and they will be able to resist having a colonial mindset. You need to build a system that will help you to support the economy you want to create, the society you want to live in, that you want to support you to become your best self. You need to build a system that will help you to make the other members of that society become less prone to manipulation by white supremacists, by people with colonialist motives.
Okay. So, Killer Ace, I've heard it said that the Gambia is a sex tourism hotspot. Is it true?
Absolutely, it definitely is a hotspot. I could understand if it was only limited towards people who are on the same category as adults, but it's even went down to the level where you see pedophilia, like on a rampant basis, children as young as 9 years old, being preyed on by tourists, So it's not just the sex tourism of prostitutes and women, beautiful Gambian women, but also the young generation who are coming up and are being exploited by, such sex tourism.
Nobody is saying there's no sex tourism in the Gambia, but if you call it a sex tourism destination, then it looks like the whole destination is prepared, product developed and, marketed as a sex tourism destination. Which is the minister's
I believe the minister have to understand that his country is being labeled as a sex tourist destination. By who? The sex tourists who come there and feed back the information and market Gambia as a sex tourist destination. And I believe that's what they have to understand and come out with more strategies to counter that, so that whenever a tourist comes and they get back, they can promote Gambia on other sides, culturally, the art, the music, but not as a sex tourist destination. Because as soon as they come to Senegambia, with all due honesty, that's the first thing you see majority of the Europeans targeting. It's either some old lady looking for a young man who is, potent enough, to take good care of her sexually, or the other way around, because it actually exists on a large scale.
Or motivation. So people depositing dollars into the economy of African nation with the purpose of manipulating them to gain an unfair advantage will suddenly no longer have the influence they had before. So you have to create an alternative system that will give the black people, your African brothers and sisters, the motivation to come to you, to do what you're asking them to do, which is to become mentally emancipated. Okay? But if you don't see that you can show them how to make money, it might be more difficult for you to listen to that message of yours, because most of them are living in a survivalist mode. That's the mindset they have. They are trying to get by day to day, and that's the reason why they are so vulnerable. All right? Remember, they don't have the means to understand how to create what the white man is bringing to them. right? That is why they need you. So you have to show them that there's another way to do it. And you need to be able to develop that system and let it really flourish. You need to give them a new set of skills, and you still have a new type of knowledge that you can pass on to them. This is my opinion, of course. You don't have to accept it. So I'm an African, and I'm a person that's lived in different cultures. I've lived among Cameroonians, eating amongst them, lived among Beninese people, Ghanaians. I've had friends from Cote d'Ivoire, Gabon, South Africa. I have clients in Tanzania, Uganda, Malawi, Kenya, Burkina Faso, Guinea. And I've interacted with people. I have clients also. I have clients in Pakistan, Canada, the UK, the US. The truth of the matter is this: I have interacted with people from different cultures, and what I'm telling you is based on the insights I've gained from interacting with them. So I know what I'm talking about. Now, you're not going to find many black Africans that are woke. One must actually go through a journey of rebirth, thousands of hours of reflection and deep study to get to that level of wokeness. And the average African doesn't just have the luxury of time and resources to do that on his own most times. So let me end by sharing 3 powerful quotes. Third prong: always tap into higher wisdom. So let me end by sharing 3 powerful quotes with you that perfectly summarize the key points I've made in this video. Number 1, under the theme, I've given them sub-themes. So this one, the theme is learn and get accepted before you try to effect change. That's my suggestion to you, and this quote captures it perfectly. Listen, go to the people, live with them, learn from them, love them, start with what they know, plan with them, build on what they have, teach by showing, learn from them by doing. Do not conform, but transform. Do not relieve, but free. And when, with the best leaders, the job is done, the people will say, we did it ourselves. All right. This is self-explanatory, this quote, and the wisdom it offers is clear. So I urge you to adhere to those simple guidelines as you move in and settle down and begin living in your new country in Africa. All right. Number 2, this is the second quote. I put a theme or sub-theme on it. Handle enemies with misdirection. Okay, that's how I propose you do it. And here's the quote. Oh, well, let me start first of all by, let me just give a bit of clarification on insights into what I meant by handling enemies with misdirection. But the quote itself actually communicates the same thing. But let me just put some background to it. You see, the truth is that in doing all the things you're going to try and do in this new country you're going to move into, one thing is inevitable, and that's adversity. In life, adversity is going to be a constant companion for every one of us. The timing is what will differ. No matter how hard you try, some people will not like you, and some things will go wrong. This quote therefore reminds you to adopt a proven mental attitude that ensures you emerge better off no matter what kind of adversity you face in the long run. Remember, when any conflict comes up, as you try to navigate your new life in relating with people in your country, this quote is something you can bring up in your mind and use to get through it. Listen. Therefore, when capable, feign incapacity. When active, inactivity. When near, make it appear you are far away. When far away, that you are near. I make my enemy see my strengths as weaknesses, and my weaknesses as strengths, while I cause his strengths to become weaknesses and discover where he is not strong. I conceal my tracks so that none can discern them. I keep silence so that none can hear me. Now, The Art of War is a very popular book. It's a war on, I think I mentioned it earlier, by the ancient Chinese war general. It's been used in businesses by military strategists all over the world, also in businesses as well. All right. Now, this is a strategy I found extremely useful in dealing with what I would call some annoyances I've experienced in my own society as a person who is a very woke and conscious individual. For instance, I found that my own people, and I mean black-skinned people generally, could sell me out at any point in time to a white person if they felt the opportunity presented itself, just to get on his or her good side or to even get a favor or reward. rather than back me up in whatever I was doing that may bring me in conflict with such a person. Then there's the issue of tribalism too. So amongst ourselves as blacks, there will be some person from a particular tribe trying to exploit you or even abuse you on behalf of a fellow tribe person that he or she favors, So following repeated reflection on that quote, I realized that getting angry or fighting such people whenever they behave in that manner was futile. Because 9 times out of 10, you actually find that you meet somebody else who's like them and will probably even readily collaborate with them or team up with them to try and do the same thing to you. So the truth is they are in the majority in society. Okay? This strategy will enable you to get around them whenever you need to, and sometimes to neutralize them if there's a chance that they can hurt you. That's the way I've used it, and it has worked perfectly for me. Okay? Now let me share with you the third and final quote. The sub-theme for this one is be flexible and always adapt yourself. Be flexible and always adapt yourself. So here's the quote. There is nothing in the world more soft and weak than water. Yet, for attacking things that are hard and strong, there is nothing that surpasses it. Nothing that can take its place. I'll give you an example. Flood water erodes rocks and sweeps away buildings, yet it's still water. So you can see how powerful water can be, but what is the way water works? It works by being persistent, okay? And also by molding itself around it kind of finds a way to mold itself around different obstacles it meets. So to summarize, therefore, it's clear that none of these 3 quotes recommends conflict as a way forward for you. Instead, the emphasis is on adapting to your environment at all times, like water does. I will therefore end by saying, you have to come into Africa ready to adapt yourself to the local people, to their culture, to their traditions, and to their living situations, if you really want to build the life of your dreams there, like others before you have done and are doing. There's a lot you will need to learn from the people that will benefit you and enrich your life greatly, just as you will undoubtedly be able to add value to them as well. So I urge you to embrace the opportunity with an open mind, and I wish you well. Once again, my name is Tash Lagbade. You can get across to me through my website, tayosoledad.com, or through my new platform, discovercotonou.com, discovercotonou.com. If you need to send me an email, you can use the email address tayo@tksol.com. I wish you well.
You don't expect people who came to invade us to write the truth about us. They will always write negative things about us. And they have to do that because they have to justify their invasion. We don't write our history. It has always been handed down to us orally by our elders. Of course, the white man came and he writes history. In fact, you don't know anything about any place until the white man gets there. Until the white man comes to any place, nothing lives. It's only when he comes and says, "Boof, I've discovered you, now you exist," which is ridiculous.